All right, so we started the day by watching this video, the green dot video, which is outside the class. Hopefully, that gave you an opportunity to think about how to handle kind of violence and abuse that was listed in that video. Going back over to what we are doing today in class, we're doing what we did on Friday, but switching. So people in here are going to be doing what A group did on Friday here, and vice versa. So first off, everyone needs to make sure they've done the using quotes from sources practice assignment. You've had plenty of time to work on that. I'm still missing a few of you all, so if you haven't got that done, you need to make sure that's done, because that is one of the number one things on this benchmark writing that we're really working on, is being able to use sources and quotes, okay, and being able to do that properly. I've graded the ones that are in. If you didn't submit it, you can still submit it. So Group B, at home group, today you have two focuses. Number one is the web quest, and number two is to continue writing your benchmark, okay? You need to have that benchmark writing finalized by the end of class tomorrow, okay? I'm going to give you all time to work. The people that are here today who haven't really started it yet, they're going to work on it today and tomorrow, so it allows you at home to have today and tomorrow to finish it, okay? Which should be plenty, more than enough time to get this done. Usually we would take one day to get this done in class, okay? But because of the distance learning, because kind of the chaos of the time we're in, I'm kind of extending that so I can see everyone and get face-to-face with everyone, get everyone help, okay? And on Thursday, we're actually submitting it. It's not going to be any work time on Thursday. It's just going to be submitting and making sure that's submitted properly, because we have to send it off to the grade network, and they're going to look at it outside of our school district, okay? So that's one thing you're working on. The other thing you need to get done, which A group worked on at home on Friday, you're going to do this web quest activity. So I had you all watch as we were in class doing this, but I'm going to go over it quickly together, and there are people in here right now that need to make sure that that is finished, that didn't finish that, okay? So let's go look at this. So for this assignment, you're going to open the template provided. Now, some of y'all might have opened it on Friday and quickly discovered that the first set of questions and reading didn't work. So I just said skip that, okay? So you can skip that. The second thing is we were working on these. So you can skip that first section if you open it on Friday. Otherwise, it should be should look like this if you're opening it today, okay? So the first three things you're going to do on this is you're going to analyze the media cartoons, and I gave you an example on the first one of what you would say. So we can look at that together really quick. So these are media cartoons kind of dealing with technology and how we react to technology and things like that. So this first one says, believe it or not, there are places in the world where getting a new iPhone is not a priority. Okay, so we can see that there's this young person, clearly looks concerned and kind of emaciated and small, probably doesn't have any hunger or is hungry because there's no food in their bowl. So if we go back, simply putting this, we are concerned with getting a new iPhone while people around the world might be dying of hunger, okay? So that's kind of the message, like we are clearly too obsessed with our technology, okay? So you're going to do that for each of these cartoons, and then you're going to pick one of those three cartoons for this section. You're going to take a deeper dive. So you're going to scan the cartoon. What do you notice first? What are the titles or captions? What are the people, objects, places? What impact does the cartoon have on you? So I should see a couple sentences on each of these, kind of answering those questions. On this next part, you're going to watch, and this kind of got split awkwardly, but you're going to watch this video right here, and the videos work. No one has told me they don't. So watch watch this video, answer these questions. This video is like a 3-minute video, and then you're going to watch this video. Now, this video will open up a list of videos, but you don't have to watch the whole playlist, okay? You only need to watch this first video that pops up, which is about 16 minutes long, and you're going to answer these 4 questions. Originally, I said you only had to answer 2 of the questions, but that's whenever we had the reading at the top, so I'm going to go ahead and say answer all 4 questions, okay? So pretty straightforward, something you can work on throughout the class period. When you are finished at home, you're going to go back over to your writing. If you get to a point where you're stuck, let me know. We can share your screen. We can look at it together, and I'll be available for you all. So if you are at home and you don't have any questions on that, you are welcome to log out of the Google Meet, but I will be here taking questions if you have those questions. Before you leave, are there any questions from you all? Recording in. So as we go through and mark this, yellow equals for the no screen week. Yellow equals for the no screen week. Okay? While pink is going to be no screens. Okay? I'll explain it as we did each one. So don't try to get ahead or anything. You don't have to worry about that. But just know that. Okay? Clear as mud, I'm sure. Let's see. Let's get to it, and then we'll go slow and make sure you know it. All right, so the first thing is in passage 1, our title, Is the Internet Teaching Young People Not to Think? Do you think this agrees with the week or disagrees with the week? Is the Internet teaching young people not to think? What does that give you a gut feeling of? It agrees with the week, because is the Internet teaching young people not to think is kind of implying that, yeah, let's talk about how it isn't letting people think. So it's going to agree with the no screen week, okay? It's going to be pro no screen week, probably, okay? And as you can see, there's already a lot of yellow highlighting, so it's probably pro no screen week. All right, so let's read. Oh, and this is by Julianne Vincent. So whenever you go to quote this, you would say, in an article by Julianne Vincent titled, Is the Internet Teaching Young People Not to Think? She says, comma, quotation, okay? So it's a long source, okay? All right, so let's read. Nicholas Card, the author of The Shallows, What the Internet is Doing to Our Brains, says that we should take some time away from screens because he believes that the Internet does not improve our intelligence. According to Carr, deep thinking brain scientists have discovered happens only when our minds are calm and attentive. So according to this doctor, deep thinking can only happen when our minds are calm and attentive. So you would circle it. If you are pro no screen week, you would underline if you're against the screen week. All right, let's keep going. Riding the Internet highway. It is difficult to focus while using the Internet. On top of all the distracting notifications and advertisements, there's also the tendency to start surfing on websites from one topic to another. It's as if the Internet overtakes our thoughts. Even when we're not using technology, Matt Ritchell wrote an article called Attached to Technology and Paying a Price, describing the toll that technology takes on us. He mentions that most computer users switch between tabs and web pages almost every 2 minutes. Some might say that sites such as Google have positive effects on their users. While it's true that the Internet gives us answers quickly and reliably, it's not something to get into habit of doing. Okay, so that pink, if you are going against the screen week, you would circle that. Okay, if you're for the screen week, you would underline it. It doesn't do much harm to look up some facts every once in a while, but we forget things because we can get the answer so easily. Quick on the smartphone draw. In Cognitive Offloading, How the Internet is Changing the Human Brain, Philip Perry discusses issues affecting our memory's capacity brought on by search engines. A test was conducted to compare 2 groups. One group couldn't use any sort of device to answer questions, and the other group was allowed to use Google. The group that had access to their smartphones immediately went to the Internet and didn't even try to answer from memory. The group deprived of devices were quicker overall at answering trivia questions because they didn't reach for their smartphones. Now, would you quote that whole thing? No, it is way too long of a quote. So this is where, if you want to use this information, this test that they did, you would paraphrase, okay? And we see this paraphrasing right down here, okay? In a study mentioned in this source, okay, so you put this source. People who rely on their cell phones could not answer questions quickly versus people without. Okay, so I did a quick. You just put your note kind of on the side. So that would be how you paraphrase. Now, would you put that paraphrasing in quotation marks? Yes or no? You put a paraphrasing in quotation marks. No, but see, Brock shaking his head no. You do not put paraphrasing in quotation marks. So this is a really strong argument if you are for no screen weeks. It's saying because of our screens, we're becoming less and less powerful problem solvers or quick answer people, okay? We were always tempted to go and look at our phones. All right. David Price, a guest blogger on a website called Tech Addiction, says that teaching may be getting easier with Google because parents can now use the internet to help with their kids' homework. Okay, so this is going against No Screen Week because it's saying tech is good. This led me to think about how schools make us memorize facts and equations even though we have apps to solve problems. Why should people have to remember all that when they could turn to Google instead? We have to at least attempt to use our minds for problem solving so we don't forget how to do so. Imagine if you were deprived of smartphones and you completely forgot how to solve problems on your own. If we always turn to calculators and websites for answers, we'll never learn anything on our own. Okay, which could also be quotable if you're pro Screen Week. All right, let's go to the next one. The surprisingly positive power of texting. So is this for or against Screen Week? No Screen Week. Against, yeah. So you would assume that most of this is going to be against. And if you look, you see a lot of pink highlighting on this one versus the yellow. All right, so this is from the Washington Post. So you would say, according to an article by the Washington Post entitled The Surprisingly Positive Power of Texting, and a new quote. So texting often gets blamed for reducing people's attention spans. Other days it gets blamed for making people feel more isolated. Texting has also been blamed for damaging the spine, a condition called text neck. Still, some experts say texting can and should be a positive force for people's emotional and physical health as long as it's used correctly. So this would be a good argument to go against No Screen Week because it helps with their emotional and physical health as long as used correctly. The Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT psychologist Sherry Turkle wrote the book Reclaiming Conversation, The Power of Talk in a Digital Age. Texting itself isn't the problem, she says. The trouble is what happens to face-to-face conversation if your phone is always there. So the trouble is what happens to face-to-face conversation if your phone is always there. Okay, so this kind of goes for No Screen Week. Texting can improve relationships, communication. If done well, Turkle and other experts said, and these are 3 individual quotes. You wouldn't want to quote this whole section by itself, okay? It's a lot. Texting can improve interpersonal relationships, which I wrote up here, like interpersonal relationships are close friendships, okay? Close family members, interpersonal relationships. It can also help people deal with traumatic events and connect difficult generations of people. There are also medical uses, including improved communication with health experts and in medical studies. Okay, so 3 powerful quotes to say no to Screen Week. Okay, because these are all positives for technology. It all comes down to when and how you text. According to Turkle and Cheeky Davis, who holds an advanced degree in psychology and writes about well-being technology, both said there's one key rule of texting. Don't do it when you're around other people. Okay? So this obviously goes against the Screen Week, no Screen Week. Don't do it around other people. And this is where you can start formulating an idea. If you're going against the no Screen Week, where you can start making that argument of it doesn't need to be a whole week without screens. We just need to take notice of when to not do it. Okay, and that's what's important to learn here. And that's what I would be writing in the sides there, is that no Screen Week wouldn't work. We need to focus in on our strengths and when not to use it, like we talked about in the beginning of class. Don't use phone at the dinner table. If you're out to dinner with friends, keep your phone out of sight, Turkle said. Even leaving the turned off phone visible on the table will make conversation more trivial and will reduce the possibility of empathetic communication, Turkle said. She warned some people use texting to avoid difficult face-to-face interactions. Okay? So this definitely goes against, this definitely is for no Screen Week. Let's open that. It is better to keep from texting even around total strangers, Davis said. She mentioned that when traveling home from work, people whip out their phones and disappear into their screens, ignoring their fellow passengers or on the bus or the subway. A whole body of research shows we can improve your well-being even through just tiny interactions with strangers, Davis said. So I've highlighted this in yellow because this would go for no Screen Week, because it says, we need to interact with strangers. We need to do that. Even the tiniest will improve it. But I also put pink on this because you could use that for your argument to say we don't need Screen Week. We just need a little bit. Okay, don't tear away screens because that's not going to help. That's actually going to hurt people. We could do this to kind of, we should meet in the middle maybe or something like that. Is one way you can take your essay. Reach out to others in need. Once you're truly alone, go ahead and break out your phone, Turkle Davis said. But be thoughtful about who and what you text. Think of texting friends and family and consider who might be feeling lonely or dealing with a difficult situation. If you yourself are struggling, texting a loved one is a great way to handle it, Davis said. Again, Davis is one of those doctors. Studies have shown that people who text and reach out to others experience less pain, Davis said. It can be used to cope and just kind of deal with challenging situations. Okay? So both are supportive and they're both against the no Screen Week. All right, last one. I know, it's a lot. We're almost there. Screen addiction. Study links too much device time to teen unhappiness. So obviously, is this for or against no Screen Week? For, definitely. Study links too much device time to teen unhappiness. So we're not going to see a lot of pink in this one probably. Silicon Valley executives have complained about smartphones and social media that are designed to be addictive. But a new report puts numbers into to their warnings. The report finds that more hours a day teens spend in front of screens, the less satisfied they are. Okay? So the more time in front of screens, the less happy they are with their life. Okay? Is what the report says. The report was published in the journal Emotion. It used information from a national survey of 8th, 10th, and 12th graders done every year by the University of Michigan. Okay, so you see how they really use that strong evidence to support their claim. Okay, this is a survey done to teenagers every year by a respectful university. The report said that young people's self-esteem, life satisfaction, and happiness have gone down since 2012. The year 2012 was the first year that more than half of Americans owned a smartphone. Well-being drops with more screen time, report says. The report also found that adolescents' psychological well-being decreased the more hours a week they spent on screens. That includes the following: the internet, social media, texting, gaming, and video chats. The findings are like earlier reports linking frequent screen use and teenage depression and anxiety. The study graphed the connection between happiness and screen activities. It also graphed the connection between happiness and non-screen activities, such as sports, in-person interaction, and religious services. John Twenge is the study's lead author. Twenge is a psychology professor at San Diego State University. She called the relationship of screen and non-screen activities zero-sum. That means if you are doing one, it takes time away from the others. So basically, I kind of did another paraphrase here. Time on screens takes away from social opportunities. So do these three, sorry, I'll give you a second. Sorry, I don't mean to move on so quickly. Yes, sir.
All this experiencing is that a lot of people's thinking of the internet is wrong because they really aren't the people on the other end being, turning off the screens. Because me and my buddies, when we get mad at in the games and so on, we just yell at someone and that just takes away from what we've been worrying about all day and so on.
So it helps to relieve that stress and that could be one of your body paragraphs using quotes from this, how screen time actually helps you to cope with the stress in your life. That's a great argument. And there's some quotes you could definitely use from this. Awesome. Perfect. But as Kevin was saying, these three articles lean for or against screen week. For. They lean towards, and I know I'm using a lot of no's and fors and against. I'm sorry, that is confusing. So there's a lot more yellow highlighting throughout this writing, okay? There's some pink, but there's a lot more yellow highlighting, meaning that it is for no screen week. Now, you might sit there and be like, wow, it's much easier to argue for no screen week after looking on this. That's okay for you to change your argument. No one's going to be sitting there going, oh, they switched their thing. That's okay. But whatever you decide that you should stick to, because they do not want someone that is just talking about the topic. You're not informing about the issue. You're arguing the issue. So you're picking one side. And that is why you use one of these, the big writing here. Okay? What do we call this? It's the last sentence in the first paragraph of your writing. A thesis statement. So you should, from this reading, be able to come up with a thesis statement. So before we ever get to know red ink, I want you to write in the space at the bottom of your prompt on the front page your thesis statement. So it can be worded just like this. You can change it a little bit if you want, but essentially it should say, I'm going to read both sides, OIA and OHS should / should not. So you're going to choose should or should not participate in the no screen week because, and then you need 3 reasons why. Okay? So you say should participate in no screen week because tech is making us less intelligent. Tech is hurting our personal relationships. So you're giving reasons why. Okay? You still write these so we can see what your thought was as you do it. So everyone's writing this thesis just like this. Just write those exact words. And then you're going to pick 1, 2, and 3 that you're going to argue in your writing. to say that you are not allowed to go on to No Reading and start working on this until you have an initial from either me or your student saying, good thesis. Now, workable thesis. Okay? It doesn't have to be flawless, but workable. Without this thesis, you're not going to be able to write. You don't want to write. You think you have a good thesis, raise your hand. Workable. Just on. Because and give me 3 reasons why you disagree. Oh, awesome. Put that at the end of your first sentence, or the first paragraph, if you don't already have a thesis. Yeah. After you finish this. Yes. And then, if I can get follow it out, take a look at it. Yep. It should, yeah, and once we sign off, it's district writing benchmark. And already, we've got 4 So you're in there, get logged in there, and that will now show you what that looks like. Okay, yep, those are 2 reasons, and that's a good place to get started. Good. Just put OIA should not be here's another reason that you should not You're good. I want you to post that. If you're in the middle and you can't make a decision on which side you should go, I would go with supporting no spring week because there's a lot of evidence for why it should happen in the readings. If you're in the middle.
But you don't have to go and embrace all that right now, but when we get into it. Two or three close together. It does help, technology does help things out. What about, are you like doing that? Yeah. If y'all gotten that thesis statement written and you signed it, then you'll know red ink after or fence if you're writing.
All right, so everybody should have their thesis